Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. If you enjoy a wee drama here or a pint there, it's very, very hard when you're in Scotland because it is so expensive. And nobody knows why. It was put up, the minimum unit price was increased, simply to try and drive Scots away from the drink. It's failed. It's failed miserably. And it has increased the number of deaths in Scotland because people who aren't able to afford drink are turning to other products. It's increased poverty, especially child poverty, and it's made a bad situation worse. And no study ever has shown that it's been positive. Of the 40 odd studies there's been, only one, singular one, said that it may have a potentially positive effect. None of them have outright said it is. Indeed, most of them say it's had a detrimental effect. And so, what have the SNP done? Have they looked at the facts? Have they looked at the evidence and realised it was a mistake? Or are they quite incapable of admitting they got something wrong and are now doubling down on it? Well, of course they're doubling down on it. Well, to be fair, they're 30%ing it, I suppose, because they're increasing the minimum unit price by 30% and looking at potentially raising it again. And yet, even Public Health Scotland says it may only potentially have that positive impact. Public Health Scotland saying basically it's failed. Let's take a look. So Public Health Scotland admits alcohol price rise may only potentially have positive impact on booze consumption. Now, they are looking at the figures, and I mentioned this in a short video yesterday, that the number of hospitalisations has decreased by 11%. But what they're not telling you is the number of deaths have increased by 25%. So presumably it's because people are dying before they can even make it into hospital, or that the waiting list to get into hospital is so long they've sobered up. Either way, this is what we're finding. And so it goes to show that not only is this a failed policy by a failing government led by a serial failure, but that it will likely get worse come the new increase on the minimum unit price. Even more children plunged into even deeper poverty. Because it's easier just to make everybody's life miserable than it is to target problem drinkers. Hard-pressed Scots are set to be hit with a 30% increase in the cost of booze from September as minimum unit pricing is extended. Scotland's public health body admitted that the planned minimum unit price rise may only potentially have a positive effect on lower alcohol consumption in Scotland. The news comes as Scots are to be set with another 15 pence per unit rise from September. Because, hey, we want you miserable and we don't want you having any way of escaping from your misery. The misery must be total and complete. And also, of course, if they can get rid of Scotland's alcohol, then it just makes it a much more welcoming place for Humza's Yousaf's new Scots coming in by the million to race replace the existing ones. Anyway, Deputy First Minister Shona Robertson confirmed that the cost of booze would rise by 30% to help curb alcohol-related deaths across the country. And it, of course, will do no such thing. Firstly, you're going to get the bootleggers. They're just going to come in from England up and woohoo, make a fortune. Thank you very much. Money then, it's just going into the hands of criminals effectively, number one. Number two, it'll just drive even more people to the corner boys to take whatever products they can get, thus increasing those deaths. Shona Robinson, of course, is a very low IQ person. I firmly believe she's retarded. One only has to look. You can see there's nothing going on in there, is there? Plans will see the lowest price for a pack of 4 cans of beer rise from £4.40 to £5.72, while a bottle of wine would soar from £4.88 to £6.34. And a 700ml of 40% spirits like vodka or whiskey would cost a minimum of £18.20. The idea is it will prevent problem drinkers from being able to afford to buy it. But it won't. They'll just not buy food. Kids will go hungry. Bills will go unpaid. Homelessness will increase, but the drinkers will keep drinking. Research into the policy has found that some of those with alcohol dependency issues instead did not buy food or other items, same mind, in order to spend their cash on booze. And a report from Public Health Scotland in June 2022 found no clear evidence of minimum pricing causing problem drinkers to change their ways. So the Scottish Government's own bodies telling them it won't work. You're going to increase poverty, especially child poverty. You're going to decrease the health of the nation. You're going to make people's lives worse by doing this, and it will not achieve anything like what you want. It will increase criminality. It will enable bootleggers to make even bigger fortunes. Those people who do buy from supermarkets are only going to increase the profits of the supermarkets, because it isn't a tax or anything. It's just simply the price that supermarkets have to charge. And so they'll just put the prices up. And if they've got, look, if we add this on, it goes up by 80p. Well, let's just put it up by £1 and be done and blame it on the government. Ka-ching for the supermarkets, who aren't paying their tax to the Scottish Government. They pay their tax to Westminster. What Shona Robinson is doing is making Scots poorer, especially Scottish children, and making Westminster richer. Good job, Shona. But of course, you don't expect anything else from a woman who can't tie her own shoelaces. Public Health Scotland admitted in briefing notes prepared for the officials appearing at Holyrood to discuss the policy in November last year that there was only the potential that hiking up the price could lower people's consumptions and help save their lives. And it will, of course, as I say, do no such thing. It can't possibly. Problem drinkers won't stop. They'll probably be stealing the stuff now. This is the other thing. There'll be a lot more shoplifting. People desperate for a drink will have to drink. They will just go in and drink it. They prepared for the question about whether the price should be increased and stated that this was a decision for Scottish Government. It added that the body's evaluation of the minimum unit price was conducted at a consistent rate of 50p per unit of alcohol, and so does not provide any evidence of the impact of MUP at different levels. In other words, they don't know, they're guessing. They do know it doesn't make a difference. They do know it's made the situation worse. They've got no empirical evidence. They've got no statistical evidence. They've got nothing. And yet they're doing it. And you have to ask why. It can't be that they surely want to just eradicate drinking to make Scotland a dry state for the new Scots. That couldn't possibly be it, could it? And it's also the fact that prohibition never, ever works. Everywhere it's been tried, it fails. It absolutely fails. But the briefing adds that the Scottish Government are consulting on increasing the level to 65p per unit, and that would be a small increase in the value of the MUP. Not a small increase, a 30% increase, which could potentially increase the positive impact on alcohol consumption and related harms. But it won't. They're saying potentially it won't. Just hungry children. Hungry children, more poverty, more homelessness caused by alcohol, more crime, both in stealing it and in bootleggers. And for what? So that more people go to the corner boys and take illicit substances. Good move, Shona. If I was as clever as you, I certainly wouldn't have entered politics. I'd have hidden myself away in shame, in absolute shame. But I suppose when you're retarded, you don't realise how stupid you are. Coming up. Why are there so many morons running countries? Why can't we have people who can function as human beings, who can think, who can look at data and extrapolate from it the information they need? Why can't we have people who admit that they have made a mistake, that a policy that was introduced may not be the right policy, or may have been of good intent but failed to meet muster? That sort of thing. These are little things. These are the sort of things you do as human beings every day. But politicians seem quite incapable of them, because they can never be wrong. They must always follow a line and can never veer off it. They can never admit that maybe they should have done something slightly differently. Who knows? It's the people who pay, of course. And ultimately, it's the children, in this case, who will be paying. The children of drinkers who go hungry, impoverished, lose their homes. And all because that woman, Shona Robinson, hasn't got the intelligence she was born with. Thanks very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. I'll speak to you later. Bye.